Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. Hope you all had a wonderful week. Please excuse me if my voice sounds a bit funny. It is a bit strained. I had a bit of flu during the week. Still a bit strained even now. All right, so I hope it's all good. I hope it's all clear, but we'll get started anyway. Thank you for joining me and thank you for watching. Right, let's get started. We're going to start with a trade recap. I want to show you how wave analysis actually works. Right, so for most of you have been watching these videos for a while and you check the trade setups that we get and you check how we analyze the market. But this is really something amazing. I still get surprised every time when we get trades, especially when you analyze them from corrective structures and you analyze 3, 4, or 5 moves ahead sometimes, and you actually get all of those correct. Now, a very good example of that is the US dollar CAD analysis for the last 4 weeks. Now, if you go through the last 4 weeks on US dollar CAD analysis, you will see how amazing the analysis is. So I've always said that there is a difference between trading and forecasting. So what I do here mostly is forecasting. When it is a trade setup, I will show. I usually show it here if it is setting up during the webinar. But if not, that is what we do in our group. Now let's go through the last 4 weeks of US dollar CAD and just show you how we've looked at that pair. Now it is nice and easy to go and track this because there are timestamps in each and every video. If you go to the 26th to the 30th August video or any of my videos, if you click on the show more tab, you'll find that all the pairs that we're going to analyze here are time stamped, so that makes it easy. So now we're tracking US dollar CAD, right? So if you want to track US dollar CAD, you're going to go straight to the US dollar CAD analysis and you click on it, and then it will take you right to where US dollar CAD analysis starts. Okay, so on the description of all these videos, you will also find my contact details, and that is where you can make the inquiries about our services, about our course in our Slack group. So if you are interested in joining us, we are going into the second week of our course. From Monday, we resume. Now, the next course is only going to be in November. I will confirm the dates in the next webinar. So that will be the last course of the year. So that's your last opportunity to join us. Having said that about the course, you can join at any time because the course is pre-recorded on videos. So the moment you join, you get the full recording of the course. So that means you can start watching even before the course starts in November. So the November course is only the live interaction where you can get to ask questions and about things that you may not have grasped properly during the videos. Right, so that is the last course of the year, your last opportunity for this year to join the course if you're interested in that. Right, so when you join, you also get access to our Slack group. You will see how our Slack group works shortly as I go through the trade recaps and trade setups that we have traded in our room. Okay, so that's my contact details there. For more details about the course, you can contact me on vmanena@gmail.com, my WhatsApp, my mobile number, which you can use via Telegram or WhatsApp. You can also use that. There's also my Telegram channel, which I only use to post these live webinar links. So if you want to attend the webinars live, you can join that channel. You will get a link a few hours before the webinar starts. I'm also on TradingView. I use TradingView. You can follow me there on TradingView. I hardly ever post my analysis because most of those we post in our group. All right, so now I wanted us to look at the US dollar CAD. That's the only trade recap that we're gonna look at this week because I don't want to go through a lot. It's gonna take us about a few minutes to look at this one. Now, let's go through the 26th to the 30th August analysis. Now, if you look at this video, this is what we looked at. Let me just draw back a few minutes. So this is what trading US dollar CAD. This is US dollar CAD analysis on the 26th to the 30th of August. I was saying there on the video that we are in a corrective structure. It is a complex structure here. We're looking for a correction, as you see there in red, that will just push slightly higher and come down and then resume with a move higher. Now, if you look at that, those are that's a 1 correction move, 2, 3, 4 moves forecasted ahead. Now, who would have known that when this was correcting here, it was going to push up higher 1, it was going to push lower 3, and then resume with a move higher. And that was from the 26th to the 30th August. And the latest one also, you see where how we forecasted this. This is what I showed you on the 2 to 6 September video. That is when that correction has now played out. That is move number 4 played out. So move number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Now what we have, we're going to go to the current chart, price chart now. So we get the correction, you get a push higher, breaks the top, as I've said, and then it comes down with this move. I indicated last week that move dropped. Yes, it is following analysis, but I did not trade that move. But what did I trade? I traded this move to the upside. And you'll see with the trade setup that we've got that we already have a couple of pips to the upside on this one. Now you have to watch it for yourself. Watch the 4 videos. If you go to my channel, let's just quickly go and see here. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find all of these videos. The last 4 videos, if you can just keep clicking on US dollar CAD under the timestamps for the past 4 weeks. So that's my channel. You can start from 19 to 23 August. Before anything happened in US dollar CAD on that corrective structure, I indicated that we're going to have the correction, and then it started getting clearer on the 26th to the 30th. The 2 to the 6th September, we got our drop that we were looking for, and then this is the last week when I was indicating that we are now just looking for the upside move, which has now happened. Okay, so now how do we trade this? Let's go to our trade setups. Let's look at this one here now. Now, if we go to trade setups, this is what we do in our Slack group. So what you see there is forecasting, and here we indicate when to enter the market and when to exit. Right, so this is that corrective structure that I said was going to happen. It happened. This is the move to the upside that I said it was going to go and break the top. It happened. This is the drop that I said was going to happen. It happened. And this is now the upside move that we were forecasting. I missed this trade. I was trading something else. I was actually not even watching this for a drop. But then when this happened, we could see that there was another trade coming. As per the analysis, forecasted 4 weeks back, then we got the move to the upside and we got our entry. And this is where most people struggle with entries. Okay, you can't time the market. And that's because because they've watched these videos, they see that I say, okay, wait for a corrective structure and enter. But which corrective structure, at which cycle, at which sequence do you enter? And this is how we get it right. And if you go now to the price chart on US dollar CAD, let's go to the live chart now on US dollar CAD so you can see how that has played out. Now you see here on the 4 hour, let's go to the 1 hour here. This is our trade setup, and you can see that this is a painless trade. It is just going very nicely there. It's just going very nicely there. The target is still quite far. We're still looking for this to go to the upside. Okay, so this is how we traded it. So now, what have we done here? I've shown you how we forecasted the pair. We forecasted that this was going to make a move here, going to make a move there, it's going to make a move here. This we could have traded, but I missed it, admittedly. And this was trading. So this was forecasting the 4 moves that have happened, and now eventually you get a trade painless, and now it is going as analyzed. Now we're going to go through this during the market analysis as to how far we expect it to go and what the next move is. Okay, so US dollar CAD is a pair that we have made a lot of money from over time. Okay, so this is not just the only forecast that we got right on USDCAD. So even when we're here at the top, you can go as far back as 2 years ago and check how we have been analyzing this. Even these moves we got to the downside, even though I expected that this was going to go all the way. Okay, so I'm not going to do the analysis now. I'm going to show you what we expect from this now. But the expectation is for this to push higher, then drop, maybe break this top and then come back lower. Okay, now we are trading this, as I've shown a couple of weeks back, based on how this one has played some 2 years ago. We were looking at this structure. Let me switch off here. This move here, as you see, it's W. Let's just show you. It's clear there. This was W, X, Y, X, and the last time we traded this is how this happened. It's exactly the same thing that we're expecting now. I said when this is coming down here, it's coming down in 3 waves. So if it's coming down in 3 waves, it's not going to go all the way. Even though when we traded it here, we expected it to go. But we saw the 3 waves, the way it was dropping in 3 waves, and decided that this was going to make just a 3-wave move and then push to the upside. And that is the upside that we're expecting now, and for this to come break the top here before we get a move lower. Right, now how did this play out previously? Exactly the same way. The same way, last time it made a 1, 2, 3-wave move, and when it was dropping with this 3-wave move here, I said this is going to make another 3-wave move to the upside. Before we drop, it goes and breaks the top there, and then we drop for 1,300 pips. Now we've got the same thing again here. It was dropping in 3 waves, and we're saying it is not dropping just as yet. We're expecting this to be an expanding flat, and then we're going to get this to go break the top here, and then we're going to get the big move that we've been waiting for the past year. Okay, so a move similar to this. This was 1,300 pips. Now even here you can see this was not done in hindsight. Let's see if we can find this one here. I had it open just before the webinar started. Let's see here. Now, if we go through this USDCAD, I have shown it in some of the previous videos. This is the one that happened 2 years back that I was showing you now. So this is the 3-wave move that I was showing you. It was coming down in 3 waves, but our cycle and the sequence was showing us the move to the upside is incomplete. We needed to get 1, 2, 3 to the upside before we drop. And that is exactly what happened. It made a 300 move to the up, 600 pip move to the upside and corrected. And then we traded another 600 pip to the upside. Now from here, it dropped not a pip higher than this. It dropped for 1,300 pips, and this is how we traded USDCAD. Now this was 1,200 pips to the upside and 1,003 to the downside, so 2,500 pips all around. Okay, now this is how we traded it, and you'll see that 600 pips as we were trading it to the upside. 600, it corrected, and then another 600, and this is how you trade. And this was 2 years back now. All right, so let's get back to our trade recaps. I said I'm not going to look at a lot of pairs. I'm going to just run through some of those pairs that we were looking at in the last week. So this is USDCAD. It was the latest trade that we took last week. EURJPY. Some of the pairs that we have taken or looked at last in our week, I wanted this one to drop, but instead you'll see what happened with the Euro pairs. They've now pushed higher. We're going to update the analysis on the Euro pairs. It made this move here, just hit this move here, and it has now pushed higher. So we're going to update that one as well now when we start. This is pound CAD. I wanted it to push into the blue box. It has now pushed into the blue box. It's a little bit higher, so we're going to update and see if that is still valid. So we've got this move to the upside. Let's see if we're going to get the down move for now. So that is USDCAD. Now let's start with Euro New Zealand. The Euro New Zealand, we started with this trade in the last week that I showed last week. Last week we got this move on Euro New Zealand. I wanted this one to drop from there. It dropped perfectly. We got that one right on target, as you've seen here with the updates. So you can see that we pushed there lower. I expected last week that we're going to continue lower, so that's why you'll see that I've got a trade here on Euro New Zealand. I expected this to push lower. This was the new one. Now this shows you that you are not always going to get it right. So this is what we expected, pushed a little bit lower, and you have seen what has happened with the EUROPES. They've dropped like this, and now they've made a move to the upside, which means this trade now did not play out as we expected. This happened with the news event last week. We got the drop here, but our trade did not play out. Now we'll see, we'll reevaluate all the EUROPES. So even EURAUD, I expected this one to keep pushing lower. We got this one to do this during the during the news event, and then this is now pushing higher. So yes, it was going in the right direction, but it did not make move that we wanted it to do fully. Okay. So that's EURAUD, and that's some of the pairs, some of the trades that we were looking at in the week. We're gonna look at what is happening currently. So one of the trades that is running is the US dollar JPY trade. You'll see that US dollar JPY is around the 108 area now. It has pushed higher. Okay, so this is now going very well. We still expect it to push even higher. So that's going all well. So if you go through this one, let me see if we've got an update for this one. So that is how this is going. Last week it was correcting. This is the update last week. It was correcting, and we said it's gonna keep pushing higher. We are now around the 108 area. Another 100 pips in the last week. We're still holding this one. We're gonna let it play out to target at around 109 area. All right, so now let's get started with today's market analysis. We'll update the rest during the analysis. So I hope you got that and you are learning something from that. Okay, let's start with the cryptocurrencies. We'll look at Bitcoin first. Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, I showed last week the various patterns that are happening on the euro, that are happened on euro US dollar, that we are now trying to get on Bitcoin. So far, it is playing out inch perfect. Showed you the combination between those three structures. Please do watch last week's video, as I'm not going through to do everything from scratch again this week. So you can refer to that and see why I'm looking at this pattern on Bitcoin. So what are we expecting from Bitcoin? So from those patterns, this is what is happening. We've got a three-wave move to the downside. Got a pullback in red here. And I'm expecting, so the patterns that are playing out on Euro are doing this 1, 2 move. And after that, I was expecting that this was going to go all the way down. Now, this pattern, you'll find 3 of these on Euro US dollar pair. Now, I showed last week that I'm not just looking at these similar patterns, but rather there is a Elliott Wave sequence to it. And what is that Elliott Wave sequence? That is, we've got the 3-wave move here as a W, and we've got a 3-wave move here as an X, and I'm looking for this move here to come and complete the Y move before we resume the move higher. So that is the structure that we're looking at. Now go and watch this pattern, the yellow, red, blue, and then the yellow continuation to the downside. In last week's video, that's what we expect the pullback, the Bitcoin to do in terms of this structure. I'm gonna clear all this so you can see the actual sequence labeling. Okay, so that is what we have. You can take a screenshot and go watch this and go and mark your charts. Now we have got here 1, 2, 3, that is my W in blue. You've got here the 3-wave in red pullback. And we're expecting to have another yellow like that. 1, 2, 3 like that. And that will complete our structure. That is the WXY in blue. That is the Y that we're expecting there to complete on Bitcoin. Okay, so we are busy with this corrective structure here. It may take some time here. May do this, but we want this to continue lower, right? So let's see how this plays out. The trend is still to the downside, and we are looking for this to come down here. Okay, so that is Bitcoin, and that is what you're going to be looking for in the next coming sessions. This corrective structure, it is not tradable. It is not coming down aggressively either. So this could even do something like this. Let's show you. It could even do this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 up. Down here, it could make 1 up before coming lower. So that will be another structure which we can update as it plays out. For now, we're just going to watch this play out. Now that is Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, we're just going to look at the current structure, latest structure on the 4-hour. So we've got here, let's just look here, let's switch off all of this. Now Ethereum is making a 3-wave move to the upside. We've got 3 waves up here, 1, 2, 3. We've got a pullback here as well. Looks like here we are going to get another 3 waves to the upside before we get the drop to the downside. So that's why we're expecting Bitcoin to do similar, a bit of a move up here. This whole thing becomes corrective. We get a pullback here to the downside. So this is going to become a corrective structure. Let's keep an eye and see how it happens in the next week. So this is not tradable for now. So I would want to see this corrective structure happen here, a push higher before we come lower. This will now be a W. This is the X and a Y. So if you follow that with the red, this is your 3 waves up, this is your X, this is your move, and that's what we're going to be looking to happen with this pair. That is Ethereum. Look forward for the whole corrective structure to pull back. Right, let's look at Ripple. So the Litecoin first. Litecoin also looking like a 3-wave move to the upside, and now we've got this pullback, and I will be expecting similar to Ethereum to do this another move here. So that will be your WXY structure, and then we look for this one to give us one more down. Okay, that's the one more down that we're looking for in Bitcoin before we resume with the move to the upside. Okay, that is Litecoin, and then Ethereum. Ripple. Now Ripple, we're looking at this structure. It's a little bit of a complex structure here. What we have here from this beginning here, from the bottom of the string, we've got a 1, 2, 3 wave move to the upside. Let me check what's on the chat box. Somebody says they can't hear the audio and they're sending me a message privately. I won't be able to respond to them. Can anybody confirm that we're still fine with the sound? Is the sound good? All right, so let's carry on here. So that is a Ripple. Ripple, we've got a 3-wave move up from the bottom of the string. We also have another 3-wave move pullback. Let's try to draw it clean here. So we've got here 3-wave move to the upside. That's an ABC move at the bottom here, ABC. Now we've got another 3-wave move here in the lower degree, 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting this corrective structure, what looks like a corrective structure here, but this corrective structure looks to be incomplete. It looks like we're still gonna push higher, and then this will be a 1, a 2, and a 3 before we get another 3-wave move to the downside. And then overall, forecasting this one, expect this to make this corrective structure, and we get one more down. So what are we looking for now? Just a slight push to the upside in the next. Excuse me, guys. It said that I've got a bit of a flu, sorry. Let's resume. Right, so that is the forecast on Ripple. Now, if you look at this corrective structure on Ripple, this will be your W, this will be your X, this will be your Y. One move down, and then we expect the resumption of the move to the upside. All right, guys, so that is a Ripple. Now, let us go to the indices. Start with the S&P 500. The S&P 500, we're still looking for that wave 5, and we are looking for this to be making this structure here. The wave 5 in blue, I'll show it now in the higher degree. So we're looking for this. So this is our wave 1 here. Let me show it in red. This is our wave 1, 2. This, what is happening here could be our wave 5. So the wave 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly here, and a 5. Because this is a wave 5 and it has to be in 5 waves. We have to get 5 waves. Okay, so if it is 5 waves like this, so we're gonna keep going up in a diagonal until we get the big drop. That will be a corrective structure on the S&P 500. Okay, so if we look at this one here, why are we labeling this as a wave 5? As 5 waves. This can only be 5 waves because let's go to the daily. Let's see if we can see the structure clearly on the daily. This is wave 5. on the S&P 500. Let's go to the daily. So you can see why I'm expecting a 5-wave move in this swing. So this swing has to be 5 waves because this is the last wave 5. So this was a wave 4. This is our wave 2. Let me show the structure here. I've disabled it here. Did not do it properly there. So let's try to look at it here. So excuse the clutter here. Let's excuse the clutter there. So I want you to see the whole structure here. Let me go full screen so you can see the chart clearly. I want you to understand why I want this wave 5 to come in 5 waves. So this is what you guys don't really see here, the long-term analysis or the higher degree view on most of the pairs. We only just focus in the last piece here, but there is a higher degree analysis on this. So we're looking at this to be 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2. That is a 3 in blue over there, but there's a lower degree here. You can see the lower degree in yellow. It's another fractal here within the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the one that I'm looking for here is the yellow degree within the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I'm expecting a diagonal there. Okay, so this may be even longer than what we're looking at here. As you can see that the wave 3 here is overextended. This is what we call a nest. Okay, so now this can even be the start of wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 in yellow. So we could still be going much higher. So we would see on the completion of this first move to the upside when we get to the pullback here, if we're still gonna resume the move to the upside. That's why I'm expecting a diagonal within this wave. This is where I'm expecting the diagonal here. It can be a diagonal or it can be an impulse. Let's go to the 4-hour. Let's show how it can be an impulse as well. Now, if this is going to be an impulse, let's go to the 4-hour. Then that means we've got a wave 2 here already built in this structure. So this can be a wave 1, and then you've got a wave 2 running flat like this. Now, if this is wave 2, we could be going through the wave 3 in yellow here. Could be going through the wave 3 in yellow, so this could push higher. So if it pushes higher like this, it invalidates the diagonal, and then we would rather have an impulsive move in 5 waves. Either way, a diagonal and an impulse are both motive waves, and we'll be looking for either to happen there. Okay, so that is the S&P 500. The Dow will be similar structure, also on wave 5 there. Whether we're going to make a diagonal or an impulse, we're going to see. We're going to move up here. That is a wave 1, 2. This will be a 3, 4, and a 5. Unless this now plays out to be a running flat, as I've shown on the S&P 500, then this could be going impulsively to the upside. So either way, we are going up. It's a motive wave. All you need to do now is to look for the pullbacks on these swings to the upside. So whenever you get corrective structures, pullbacks, something like this here. Let's do this. This kind of pullbacks, you keep taking them, you keep taking these trades. Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking at. So we're still on the uptrend. Every correction you take on the indices takes you higher. Right, so that is the Dow and the NASDAQ, also similar structure. Although it is not a wave 5 on the NASDAQ, you are simply looking for a 3-wave move to the upside. On the NASDAQ, what we have here, you had a pulsing move to the upside. You have a move to the upside here, a correction. This is now making this move. So that's a 1, 2, 3 waves. So you could be getting a pullback here, and that will resume a move to the upside. Okay, let me go through here on the daily. So you can see the higher degree structure on this one as well. So this was the pullback on the NASDAQ, same as you see on the S&P 500. Now you've got this move to the upside. You've got a running flat there, move up here. Let me switch off here. You've got a pullback, 3 waves that we forecasted here last year as it was falling in December. Now we've got a move to the upside. We've got a running flat here. This can be a running flat and start pushing with the move to the upside here and give us a 5-wave move. So in this case here, our wave 4 is here. It's actually a 5-wave move as well, but our wave 4 is here as well. But this does not include the whole structure. So we don't have a structure like this as we do in the S&P 500. S&P 500 has an expanding flat like this. In this case, you don't have that because this invalidates the rules of an expanding flat. So this becomes your only wave 4, and you're looking for only pullbacks to the upside here. Only pullbacks to the upside. Every time you get pullbacks, keep taking the trades. Just like that. Easy trading on the indices. Right, so let's run through the rest. The DAX. So the DAX has made a 5-wave move, sorry, 3-wave move to the upside. You've got a running flat there. So this is your 3-wave move. You've got an expanding flat there. Now you're looking for this one to come to push higher. So you could get a corrective structure. Could get a corrective structure similar to what you have here and push higher. It's not going to happen now. We're still pushing higher, but you can get a corrective structure like that, and this will be your WXY. So this is quite clear, pushing higher, right? So this is your 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there, and we're looking for this to continue higher. So keep taking the pullbacks here to the upside. That is the DAX, very clear. UK 100. Also a pulsing move to the upside after an expanding flat. You've got a 5-wave move to the upside. You've got an expanding flat here, 3 waves. Now we're looking for this to push higher, same way as this one has pushed higher here. So we could be going with this move here. Keep getting the corrective structures to the upside. That's how the indices are running in the coming sessions. Right, so that is the UK 100, the NIKKEI. NIKKEI also made a move to the upside. So you can see here, 5-wave move here. Now this is a corrective structure similar to what you see on the UK 100, except this one looks like a zigzag, and now we're looking for this to push higher. Keep taking these corrective structures to the upside. This is your A, B, C correction. Pullbacks you take on the indices, it's going higher in the next coming sessions. Right, and lastly, the NIFTY. NIFTY also look for a push to the upside. With the rest of the indices pushing higher, the NIFTY should push a little bit higher in the next coming session. So the NIFTY, we are looking for this whole thing to be an expanding flat. If it is not an expanding flat, it's going to be a running flat. If it starts pushing higher from this level here, this now becomes a running flat. If it's going to be an expanding flat, this will come break the low here first and then go. But for now, this is pushing higher. You look for corrective structure and get something like this. Even if it's a 3-wave pullback, that's what you get on the NIFTY. All right. Now, let's go to the major pairs, the US dollar pairs. I think we've covered all the indices. If I've missed anything, please let me know, guys. Those are of you that are live. Now, Euro US dollar seems now to have started the move that we've wanted it to do since this move to the downside started. Okay, so I've always been looking for Euro US dollar to make a pullback here, whether it's going to be a zigzag or it's going to be a flat correction, but we need a correction for this whole move. It cannot just keep coming down like that. It has to correct at some point. Is this now the start of this pullback that we've been looking for all along? That could be very well be it in the next coming session, because we've got a very nice pulsing move in the last trading day of last week. Now let's have a look at the structure. We are looking at this. Look at the red now first. If you look at the red, we're looking for this to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. That is a diagonal. Now I'm looking for this to pull back and make a corrective structure that corrects the whole thing here. Let's go to the lower time frame and see. We've got a pulsing move right at the wave 5. So we did say that this may very well break the low here, the boundary between 1 and 3 here, because that usually happens with diagonals. So let's see if we're going to get that pullback now. Let's go to the 4-hour. Going to the 4-hour now, let's see what the structure is. We had a pulsing move last week that we looked at, and we expected that this was just going to make a corrective structure and keep pushing higher. So this may put some traders off but it simply made a three-wave move here. Just that it was a little bit deeper than we expected. Now we're pushing higher with this move. Let's see if we're gonna get this to keep moving higher like that. Okay. Let's see if we're gonna keep getting a move to the upside. Now we look for this to correct here. Now there's a likelihood that this may come up and make a three-wave move and push lower. Then that will invalidate our analysis. But for now, we're sticking to our analysis. We're looking for this to push higher in the next coming session, so we can get that whole big pullback that we are looking for on Euro US dollar. Now the DXY will just be doing the opposite of what Euro US dollar is doing. As you can see, at the end of the diagonal as well, we pushed higher than the wave 5. Let's go. You can see this on the daily. You can see this clearly on the daily. So if the DXY is looking downside, the Euro must come downside as well. You can take a snapshot of this. So that is the wave 5 here, break above the last boundary here. So this should actually be like this here. Break above wave 5 here, 1, 2, 3, break above, and now we're coming down with this move. Now we're looking for this to start that big correction. Okay, that's what we're looking for on the DXY. Right, the rest of the Euro pairs, pound US dollar. Now pound US dollar, I have done a video, I think it was 3 weeks back when we were approaching these areas, that there are 2 things that could happen on the pound pairs. Let's switch off here. Now, if you look at this here, you've got a move here, a corrective move to the upside. You also have another corrective move to the downside. I wanted this one to come and break the low here. That's why you see this blue line here. Okay, it did not quite break, but it came very close. So there's no rule that says it must break that, because that can still make a structure like this. Now you could be looking for a big move to the upside on the pound pair that does this before we come down. So we did say that there are 2 options, that this could break from here and just continue lower. That would mean that this is all your correction here and your structure is just like this, right? But that's not, that looks like now we have started a pulsing move to the upside. That looks like we are now going to start with this move. Okay, we're going to have a structure like this, we're going to have a structure like this, and then we're going to have this move to the upside. So let's see here if we get a proper corrective structure. If you have missed the first half of the move on the pound pairs, do not panic. There's nothing wrong with watching a move here. So you will see that most of the people would have been trying to pick bottoms whenever this is approaching here, and they keep losing money because this keeps going lower. And I have been selling pound from right at the top here. I've been selling from here because from here I was actually expecting that we were going to get a push higher, but when I saw that it was coming down, I started selling pound from here. I've been selling ever since. I've been selling from ever since. Even when this was coming down here, I had a sell set up and my target was here, but it did not get to the target. But we did get a couple of trades here, except for the last one when the pound pair started reversing. Now we've got that pulsing move to the upside. I've got a 4-hour here. Let's look at the 4-hour pulsing move. On the 4-hour, you have started a move here that looks pulsing in 5 waves like that. Now we're going to need to get a proper corrective structure for us to ride the trend. And if you don't get that corrective structure on the 4-hour, at least do not attempt to go into the pound trades, because it may just take you out. So let's see how this goes in the next coming sessions. Wait for a corrective structure if you're going to ride this trend to the upside. Very nice impulse there. I'll go through the rest of the pound pairs. USDCAD, we've already looked at this during our analysis. As I've indicated, we've got a number of moves here. 1, 2, 3. Now we're looking for this one. We've got a trade here, which we've taken here right at the bottom. We're already 100 pips up on this one. We expect this one to keep pushing higher. Now, if you want to ride the trend on this one, just wait for corrective structures in the 1 or the 4-hour and keep riding it to the upside. We're already on the risk-free trade on this one. That's USDCAD looking very nice. USDJPY. USDJPY, you just trade the opposite of what happens to Euro US dollar. Okay, so I'll be looking for USDJPY to push lower because Euro is pushing higher. Okay, so now if the upside move on the Euro is going to be disqualified, that would mean that you've got a 1, 2, 3 wave here. Let's show this on the 1 hour, because this will be critical for Euro US dollars move in the next week. Okay, so let's watch this in the week. You need to look at this. So this is a 1, And as much as you've got a spike up and a spike down, this is a three-wave structure. The spikes are part of market structure. You don't ignore them. Now, if this is a corrective structure and the US dollar chief is going to push higher, wait for it to do this. Now, if you see US dollar chief doing this, that is going to invalidate the move on the euro, because this will push higher, and if this pushes higher, the euro is going to resume the move lower. Okay, so that's how you look at it. So we even have a full model on correlation in as part of the course, because this is important. You cannot trade Elliott Wave without market correlation, right? So you look at those two things. That is US dollar CAD, US dollar chief. Audi, I've shown this a couple of weeks back now, that we are looking for a big move to the upside. I showed this weekly chart. I must have shown it in August, beginning of August, that we're looking for this one to push higher. Okay, we're looking for this to push higher. Even when it was coming here, we said this was going to push higher. I showed you a comparison between this and US dollar JPY. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for this to go and break the top there. So now, if you keep getting moves like that on Audi US dollar, that is the move we are looking for, to at least come back to this level here. Right, so that's the move that you're looking for on Audi US dollar. You can watch the previous videos for the weekly chart on Audi US dollar. Simple analysis, really. Passing move, we've got the trend, you just take the pullbacks. Right, so that's Audi. New Zealand is similar. You've got a passing move here as well. Now, all you need to do is look for this to correct. Is this pullback could be a correction, and then you will be looking for this to push even higher. Now, this could give you this as a running flat or an expanding flat. So it should follow the Audi US dollar pair in terms of direction. So it could do something like this possibly. Right, so that is out New Zealand. And then US dollar ZAR. US dollar ZAR, I wanted it to break this top first before coming down. So that move has not broken the top here. Let's show here. Has not broken the top as I wanted it. You can see the blue line, that's where I wanted it. But like I said, there is no rule that says it must break. So what we'll be looking for is for this to come and complete the Y move. Now you've got the W in blue, you've got the X in blue. Now you're looking for this one here. Corrective structures, you keep taking this all the way back to at least the 13 area. So strength in the US, in the South African rand in the next coming sessions. But long term, there isn't good news for the South African rand. We're coming down now. Corrective structure is going to take you all the way down to break the low here around the 13 area. Okay, so that's the structure you'll be looking for. Right, so that is US dollar ZAR. Let's go through the yen pairs. Looking at the yen pairs, I had a trade. So I was talking about the sequences on the pound pairs. There are some pairs that have reached this lows that we wanted them to break. I even had the trade here to the downside. I wanted this to come and break here. It did not go all the way. Instead, we have now resumed with the move to the upside. As I've shown on Audi US dollar, we now have a pulsing move. If we have missed this move, that's fine. You now have a high probable move because you now have a good clear impulse. If you get a corrective structure, that's a high probable move that the trend has changed, and now you can just ride the trend. There's nothing rather than trying to pick a bottom. Now, this is a clear pulsing move. There isn't even a trade there at the moment. Don't attempt to take this without a corrective structure. So you need something like this, these three-wave pullbacks. That's what you need to ride this trend here like that. Okay, so do not get into this unless you've got a clear corrective structure like that. That is pound yen, Audi, so the US dollar JPY. This is an uptrend. We've got a trade, as you've seen during trade setups, that we've entered this one right here. That is where our entry is. We are now a couple of hundred pips to the upside. Okay, so we are looking for this to correct and keep pushing higher. I want it to go at least around that level, around the 109 area. So I'm still holding on that one. Risk-free trade. My stop loss has been moved to that area, and I've protected the 100 pips there. Okay, so that is US dollar JPY. Just ride the trend to the upside. Euro, I wanted this to drop here. This was the forecast here. When this did this here, I wanted it to correct and drop Instead, we just got this drop that came with the news. Instead, this drop made a three-wave move. If you don't see it, this is a three-wave move. 1, 2, 3. That is what the drop did. And when it was pushing lower here, I was expecting that, oh, we're going to get that trade, by the way, after the focus. But it didn't, and it has now pushed higher. But we can see the structure that it is making. It is making a three-wave move to the upside, three-wave pullback, and now we're looking for this to make another three-wave move to the upside. Let me draw it cleanly. Correctly with the right degrees. This is the structure that you're looking for on the euro, and you see here in the lower degree, this is what you have. You've got 1, 2, 3 to the upside. Different color, should be different color. You've got 1, 2, 3 to the upside, and then you've got this pullback. And now what are you looking for? You're looking for another 1, 2, 3. So now if you get this correction, that is your last move to the upside in this pair. You can ride this trend on the euro. CHFJPY. Similar, you've got a three-wave move. In this case, it's a little bit different because now you have this here. You have an A, you don't have a WXY like you have on the euro. You've got an A, B, and you're looking for this to complete the C to the upside. Don't let this pullback scare you. That's what they do at the end of the market too. So you can think that when the market opens, you're gonna resume the move to the up, to resume lower. This is just going to make a correction and it's gonna push higher. Okay, so that is CHFJPY. Now, CHFJPY, if you look at it on the daily, there's a very interesting structure here and gives confidence for more upside because what we have here is a very clear structure. Let me show you quickly here. You have got a three-wave move up here. 1, 2, 3. You've got a 1, 2, 3. So you could be getting another 1, 2, 3 here that will go and break the tops. That's why I'm expecting this to push higher and give us a big correction, and you'll have a simple structure like this. After this structure, I expect the move to resume lower. Okay, so we go in detail in our group on these higher degree structures, so we know the direction of the market. So let's see how this goes. So this could be going higher still. If JPY, Audi. Now all the Audi pairs, that is Audi pairs and the New Zealand pairs, most of them. That is Audi US dollar, New Zealand US dollar, Audi yen, New Zealand yen. They are all making this structure. We want them to push higher. We've got a pulsing move. All you do is keep buying, and we want this to go and retest the top there. Easy. That's what you want on Audi yen. And you've got a pulsing move here. The analysis is simple. You just wait for pullbacks. New Zealand, you also have a pulsing move. Also, they're trying to make it look like it's reversing. It is not reversing. You're going to get a correction. You're going to keep going up. That is New Zealand US dollar. CAD yen, the same. You've got a pulsing move up. This is the start of wave 4 possibly, and then we'll be looking for this. Now CAD also same as CHFJPY. You've got a very nice, interesting structure here because you've got a pulsing move and you're getting this three-wave pullback. 1, 2, 3 there. Now you'll be expecting this to do this, to keep pushing higher. Right. So looks very good now. We're still looking for this to push higher. Just take this corrective structure to go and retest the top there. Looking very good there. So those are all the yen pairs. Now looking at the gold pair, silver and gold. You have got a pulsing move to the downside. You need to get a corrective structure. I have said at the end of this move, I took my profits at 1,500. Any move higher, I was not interested until we get a proper corrective structure. Okay, on gold, something like this. I will be interested maybe to take a move to the upside like that. But I'm expecting a bigger move. I've said that when I took my profits, that I'm expecting a bigger move. If you go to the weekly on gold, I'm expecting a bigger move to the downside. A pullback, at least something back to the 50% of that. Okay, so gold pullback, that's what I'm expecting after this move here. This chart I've shown a couple of times during these videos, and that is what we have here. It's a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 WXY, and we're looking for this one to give us a move here. like that. So that move, the market does not move in a straight line. I could be saying that I'm expecting a 1, 2, 3, but that's too simple. Everybody will just be making money and everybody will be millionaire, but it does not move like this. So what's going to happen here, you can have a pulsing move, you're going to have a correction, you're going to have something like this. You could even having something like this here, get something like this, makes a three-wave move, WXY, starts building like that, starts making a bigger structure, starts making another move like that, and eventually you start getting a bigger corrective structure. You get WXY here and something like that, and then after that we resume with a move to the upside. So this becomes very complex, and if you don't understand how the market or how the structure develops, you will not make a cent out of this. All right, so for now I'm not trading gold until we get a proper corrective structure to the downside after this pulsing move to the downside. So we've got a pulsing move to the downside here. So I will be looking for this now to clear this level here to see if we're going to get the continuation to the downside. That is on the 1 hour. Silver, similar, it's also pulling back. So pulling back, let's switch this off here. So silver is doing this. We've got a 3-wave move down. Again, you've got a spike and down. That spike is part of market structure. You don't ignore it. You've got a pullback here. So now you've got something like this. You want this to do that. Then you'll have your WXY structure coming down. So you can see the trend is still down on silver and gold. So don't try to buy. Look for sell setups for now. Right, so that's silver and gold. Let's run through the pound pairs. Pound Chief, as showed you during trade setups, we've got a forecast on Pound Chief, and we're looking for it to push higher into the blue box. We've got the blue box, but it looks like that blue box may be invalidated because this move to the upside looks very strong. But let's see how it happens during market analysis. I have to go through to the 4 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour. Now, we have pushed higher from the blue box. I expected this one to go from here at this level here to go into the blue box. It went into the blue box but corrected again, and now it is here. Now we need to see what happens here. If we start getting a corrective structure here, this move to the upside is going to resume, and that is what's likely to happen, and that will invalidate my the blue box there. And then if we get a pulsing move and then lower, which I don't expect, that will be the move to the downside. Let's see how this plays out. It looked good before we got to the blue box, but now that may have changed. Okay, so that is Pound Chief. Let's look through the rest of the pound pairs. They're all looking corrective. If you look at pound US dollar, I also had a setup on pound Audi last week. Okay, if you look this on the 4 hour, we had a move down here. We had this one coming down here, and let me just show you the whole structure here, what I expect of this. This is an expanding flat, pull back, and a move to the upside. So that gives you 3 waves, WXY in yellow. Now you've got a move to the downside here in 3 waves, 1, 2, 3. I'm expecting another 1, 2, 3 here. So after that, we should possibly get another 1, 2, 3 here. Now, if this is the case, you will see that this is going to make a bigger or larger, go even more sideways, because overall what you're going to have is the higher degree W that is representing this yellow that is above the yellow, bigger degree X, bigger degree Y, before we eventually get that drop that we've been looking for. Okay, so let's watch and see how this goes. For now, we're on the upside. Let's watch the structure to the upside. Don't do anything now except for looking for the pullbacks. If you're going to get a pullback, your next stop, watch it when it comes there. You need to put a stop to that level. All right, so that is pound Audi, pound New Zealand, the same. You've got a nice pulsing move to the upside, has made a 3-way move up and a pullback. This is the 3-wave move to the upside. You see the spike up, pull back, and then move up. Now, after that, you get a clear corrective structure here, regular flat. Now, what you have here is a resumption of the move to the upside. So you move to the upside, that's what we're expecting, a 1, 2, 3. Then that will be a WXY structure that we expect on pound New Zealand. So what do you do now? You keep buying as you get pullbacks. So pound overall, it's a move to the upside. I actually made a mistake. The trades that I actually have that I showed on trade setups was this one into the blue box. Okay, so this was correcting here at this level, and we wanted it to go into the blue box. Now it has pushed higher than the blue box. That is invalidating the move that we expected. And the move we expected was this WXY in red. Let's see what happens in the next coming session. So what we're gonna have here, I see that this is gonna keep correcting here, and it's gonna keep pushing higher. Okay, so if it doesn't and you get an impulse, that's gonna play that blue box. But all you need to do here is wait here for two things to happen, either a correction or an impulse. That's all the pound pairs. Now we can look at the euros. Now euro pound, I showed you a trade that we took here last week. So there was a clear trade here, just a few pips from target. Now we've got to move to the downside. When this was coming up here, there was a trade that set up here, but when I noticed this one here, it was already here. I said to the members in the group, this is too late to take this, because if you take this, your stop loss has to be higher than this. Now you're gonna take a trade that is higher than this with a target that is here. Now that is a 50-50 trade. That is gambling. We don't gamble. You don't gamble. So I said to my members, wait for this to correct. And this is the correction. You see it clearly in the 1 hour. This is where you take the trade. Now if you put there, your stop loss is there, and you've got a very nice risk to reward ratio, better than what you would have done here. Now most people, what most people do is they see a pulsing move, or they see a move in a certain direction. For example, in this case, people who don't have experience or a clear strategy on this, what they would have done is, they see, oh, we're making a move to the downside. You take the trade right here, and as soon as you take the trade, it starts doing this to you, and you are heavily you are heavily exposed because the move looks so strong, and to the downside, you lose the money, you get out, and the trade does exactly what you were looking for. So you need to have a clear strategy, and that is what the advantage that we have when we try to trade this. Right, so let's look at the rest. That is US dollar chief. US dollar chief, it has made a 3-wave move to the upside. Right, we're going to expect a corrective structure and a push higher in the next coming session. Now, this is the spike that happened in the week. I actually focused it that we're going to get this spike to the downside, but my forecast was that we're going to go all the way. Okay, you get it wrong sometimes, but that's so fine. We got it down, but it did not go all the way. Now we've got a pulsing move up. We got a correction here. We're looking for continuation to the upside. Right, so that's what's happening on the euro pairs. We're looking for a resumption of the move to the upside. Euro. So this is what we're expecting on the euros to start the move to the upside. So that is Euro chief. Now let's look at Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand, I showed you during trade setups, a trade recap. We got a move here. We got this one full target. I expected that we're gonna push lower because of the higher degree analysis that I had on this one. But what we have now is still clear. Yes, you did not get the move. I did not even trade this. That's fine. But what you can see clearly is that you've got an expanding flat here. An expanding flat. So you had a move up here, and this is continuing to the upside. You do now, you get pullbacks and wait for the move to the upside. It's gonna resume higher. Okay. Let's go quickly to the daily, see just so you can see the structure that we were looking at on Euro New Zealand. I was expecting this to do this 1, 2, 3, and then a drop. Doesn't look like that drop is gonna come as yet. This needs to push higher first. Even if you're gonna get a drop, this must push higher and break the previous high before it come down. So that's what you're gonna be watching for on the euros. So strength on the euros short term. EURAUD, you've got a nice pulsing move here. All you need to wait for is a corrective structure. There's a clear structure here. In higher degree, you've got a 3 up, 3 down here, 3 up here. Now you've got a pulsing move here to the downside. that could be a running flat. Let's do it in yellow, show that it's 1 degree. So that structure is a clear 335 structure, a pulsing move after the correction. That's why we're expecting the Euro New Zealand to push higher as well. Okay. All right, so is the sound better now, Mozi? Okay, so that's what we're looking for now, a move to the upside. Right. Those are the Euro pairs, EURAUD, EUROCAD. Clear pulsing move, done with the downside. We're looking to resume the move higher. So this is supporting the strong move on EURAUD, New Zealand, Euro US dollar as well. The big pullback that we're expecting after these pulsing moves. So be patient and wait for corrective structures to the upside. That's all the euros. Now we can look at some of the cross pairs. Look at AUDJPY. Audi, you're expecting moves to the upside. Just wait for these corrections and push higher. Audi New Zealand, the same. All Audi pairs, you're looking for upside. Keep getting corrective structures to the upside. You're just buying Audi pairs. Simple as that. CAD should be coming down now. As you've seen, US dollar CAD is coming up. So this one should be coming back down to that level. And AUDJPY, we've already looked at this one. Audi, we are just simply looking for all of them to push higher. Look for pullbacks. New Zealand CAD is coming down, so New Zealand CAD should push slightly higher. New Zealand JPY, New Zealand is coming up, so this should be correcting here and going upside. So we still want a corrective structure to push higher. But this may be slightly different because this looks like an expanding flat, and if it is an expanding flat, you get a correction here, you're gonna have to take this to the downside. Right, and lastly, we look at oil. Let's look at oil. Now, oil, I had a forecast here after it made this pulsing move that we're going to have this three-wave pullback. We've got the three-wave pullback. We had the impulse. I expected to get a corrective structure here and a push higher to retest there. Now, this looks like it's making an even more complex structure, and the structure is still clear. You've got 1, 2, 3 down here. This is 1. Let's do this. This is 1, 2, 3 up here as well. Now these can come back down here and retest this level here, the low, and still come back with this move. So that will make this whole corrective structure here, and you'll have a pulsing move, a correction, and another pulsing move. You'll still resume with the move that we've been expecting. And if you wanted to label this, this will be your A, B, C structure, and on the red here, you'll have a higher degree A, B, C structure. And that's what oil looks like. And if you wanted to do this one as well, you could do that. This should actually be in this blue here to show the right degree. And you'll have also here an A square brackets here, B, C structure here on oil. That is the forecast on oil. You can keep watching on that. But the next move here on oil looks like we're going to have this one here dropping lower. It may do this first, 1, 2, 3, push a little bit higher and then drop, but we're expecting a drop here on oil. Okay, you get a corrective structure here, look for a drop to this level, could even do this and then come back down. Right, that thank you guys. As much as the voice was a bit difficult, I hope you enjoyed the webinar and you'll make something out of this in the next week. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a great week ahead. Cheers everybody. Bye-bye. Don't forget to drop that like and a subscribe button so the next time I upload, you get a notification. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.